Hello, this is Pixie doing another video, and I was having some interesting thoughts. I think there was a person made a comment about sugar. Why does sugar cause acid? And the truth is, all digestion causes acid. Your body has to go through an alchemetic process, whereby it switches into a more acid state, while it's going through a process of absorption. And the reason that is because it's like alchemy with elements. That is what's going on. So your body's going to have to create fire to break something down. The more acid your body has to produce to deal with a food, either the food or substance you've eaten is already acidic. So your body has to break down whatever is already with that food and then process it. So it may be, it's interesting with acids. So you've got things like vinegar, for instance. You know, it has a positive effect, even though it's acidic. It can help rebalance your body. And it has very useful acid that can be used elsewhere in your body, and your body goes through a process of balancing and transitioning between the different elemental states. It's meant to be lockdown. Where's all these cars come from? Okay, so you go into an acid, which is going to be a fire, and then you want to go back into a water state. So your body starts to transfer that acid. Once it's all broken down, extracts the fluids back through. So you get your bile. So you've got a mixture of processes there. Then your body, possibly in a fasted state, will go to an air state. So you might have a lot more wind as you're processing your food, and there's earth as well. There's elements of earth there as well when you go to the toilet, or it's moving through that part. It's shifting towards earth, and then as you're empty, there's the air element as well in there. There's other processes as well. There's like your bones, for example. Even though your bones, elementary wise, they're kind of they're between rock, and they have the organic features of wood. So there's a kind of duality between this element. So there's a hybrid element basically at some levels. It's also got a metal element inside it as well. And the metal is also mental. So there's an element of mind behind it. Or willpower. We always associate willpower with metals as well. And it's not because it just happens to rhyme. There's some deeper esoteric meaning there, because it allows for a certain energy types to transition through that. It's a bit like this, a dielectric forms, or diamagnetic will be things like water. There's things, it's like you get carbon associated with wood, you get some strong elements and minerals, so there's a crystal element to it as well, because of the alignment of something that's slowly grown. It's not a corrupted state, it's more of its pure form, because it absorbs, like a crystal grows, it absorbs things, it grows an outer level. You also absorb light, so that's a higher plasmoid feature in relation to sunlight. So there's different element states in there. Now, the issue there is, if you repeat in the same cycle constantly, then you might not be able to access the other higher elements. You have to go to a point where you're empty, and then you get the other side of the coin. You can kind of see it as like the death element. So things are all broken down, energy, the void, the absence. So with the absence side of it, your body wants the food. It's energized to be driven towards food. There's also elements of astrology that affects diet as well. So, I mean, common belief might be that, you know, being vegan's the best, being, you know, this type of diet, that type of diet, but it's actually more about the diet for you, because the universe wants balance. And so, you know, if you eat meat, you're not evil, but you should be eating meat like a predator would eat it in the wild, which is, you do it rarely, you do it when it's necessary, and you do it to attain some type of energy fulfillment. So it's not like you're wolfing down loads of meat like some deranged savage or something. There's a control element to it, and also that they tend to cull things. So the less harm you do to the creator, let's say you're feeding this a cannibalism off the creator, you want to reduce that. And there's other things that are feeding on us, like we talk about viruses and how that impacts. So with this coronavirus, I can say that I'm aware that I've got a thinner blood-brain barrier anyway, because when I was a child I was quite susceptible to colourings and other things as well, but that's just a feature of me. However, it might mean less shielding against a virus entering the brain and having an impact on the brain, and I'm aware that something's occurred there, some damage, because, or just kind of like a little bit dizziness, a little bit of confusion in there. So if you want to get back on track when it comes to getting past this corona stuff, regularly take your temperature daily, and then just be aware of any sort of changes. Changes in your temperature might give you an understanding of metabolic processes. Meta is like virtual reality. Ball. There's a Babel, and there's lots of these ball references in there, the toral fields and so on. So that's to do with the holographic elements of the universe as well. Toolism. Tool is something you use. Ism, is, is man. It's as in I am. So there's a lot of theological beliefs that I've encompassed, and some of the influences from other people out there, like Santos Bonacci. It's got an interesting thing. I mean, I might revisit like the Quran and look at some religious books, and possibly from that you could generate your own Bible, have your own family Bible, but you'd be esoteric beliefs and stuff in relation to that. You know, you could change the whole lot. You could say kick out the word Jesus and put something else in there. It doesn't matter, because it's Jesus or it's elements, God state elements. You know, it's different beliefs there, because it's all the same. If it's your syncretism, you're putting something. It's basically fundamentally all the same there. So there's nothing lost, nothing gained. It's all the same. So some of my astrological beliefs are because I've got for the Chinese sign a snake, so shedding your skin, I shed my past. So I don't try not to live in the past. I try to live as a new form every day, and that kind of the rebirth. But there's rebirth. So you're sowing and you're harvesting what you have. So basically you gain some experience, but you're a new being, and I think that goes with trauma. You want to shed the trauma, but you want to gain the experience, and that's quite important. And then there's also the Leo elements. So fire, working on the heart, working what makes me strong, also can make me quite weak as well. So vulnerable to my emotions. And also appearance. So I'm letting my hair grow longer because I think the Leo needs a mane, and I'm playing around with facial hair. I thought, well, maybe I won't shave my throat because this is like a tribal thing, and this is how I naturally am, and not often people try to fall into these stereotypes, groomed stereotypes. Grooming shows that they take care of themselves, but it doesn't necessarily mean, you know, they might be opposing a part of their elements of themselves. and I'm kind of against hero worship. So there's lots of stuff that go on about how wonderful the NHS. Yeah, sure, everyone's doing a lovely job, but when you get involved in kind of social care, you never wanted to get praised. You wanted to feel there's a fulfilment. It's kind of a spiritual calling, actually, for some people. However, other people have entered into the career or got involved for all sorts of reasons. And there are some brave souls out there, especially people that know that carrying on working, they could potentially die of this virus. And there's lots of unknown elements about this virus, and why some people are dying, and whether it's some natural order of culling that goes on, because we don't have any enemies apart from ourselves, and we've avoided warfare. So maybe certain elements or certain people, some individuals, that just would have not survived if we didn't have a system that protects them and tries to over-nurture them. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's probably made people a bit weaker, and so people are now dependent on other people for survival and drugs and all sorts of things. And so, there's lots of things where men have become very feminised, and it's quite slightly disturbing, like they're all booing their eyes out on TV and stuff. I don't acknowledge these guys as men. I mean, I do think they should get emotional, yes. I think you should live from the heart, definitely. But you need to be strong. You're supposed to carry the weight of the vulnerable at a certain level. Men have got a duty, when at war, to be strong, I think. If they give in to some sort of weaker state, then see, this is why it leaves a situation whereby women have to fulfil roles that men have left absent because they're afraid of certain stereotypes that come with it. But the thing is, they can take the hits from it. That's the point as well. If somebody doesn't like, the masculine qualities. I've got somebody I work with, and I was thinking to myself, I think she would hate any male role model that's into politics or positions of power. I thought to myself, is it because of this, she's adopted this feminist ideals mixed in with her own personal experiences, whereby they represent some type of resistance, and so they need to be brought down to a lower level. So maybe it's just a case of how she sees herself, but I don't know. So anyway, going back to food and stuff, so it's very much about the elements, the body shifting states. There's also other things like the electric, you've got the, there's some other stuff I was looking at, was maybe the magnetic remains the same, so it's kind of like the structure of the hologram, but the electric element of it brings it to life, and to light maybe, which gives it this form, and it's moving. Electricity is always moving, but maybe magnetism doesn't have to. It maybe sort of fluxes in some way or something else. So there's always debate about stationary and moving universe, but I think if you're in a hologram, holographic, it doesn't matter really. I mean, you see things and they're still at the time you see them, but then they transition and they're moving again. So it's, some people caught up with globe or flat Earth, or, basically they can mentally project their universe as well. So if you choose not to see the world the way somebody else does, you don't have to. Some people don't see the world at all. They just experience it in a different form, like they hear the world, or they can feel it, or something like that. So yeah. Anyway, this is a big sign up for this video. Have a great one, and we will speak again. Bye.